Howdy, folks. I am Alan for today's news. I will be reading and speaking about world news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. What I got for you, first of all, here is a lot of people don't know what jake brakes are and why the trucks going down the highway, make the loud noise. So I'm bringing this up here. This is from Motor Biscuit. Jake brakes, how do they work, and are they illegal? Said semi trucks parts tend to wear faster than passenger cars. It has a lot to do with the vehicle size and the fact that big rigs rack up many miles quickly. Some auto parts, such as jake brakes, can improve a semi truck's lifespan. Learn more about jake brakes, including how they work, if they're legal, and whether they affect a truck's engine. And it says here, jake brakes are designed to save wear and tear on service brakes. If used properly, they can add years to truck's brakes. They also save wear and tear on tires. Jake brake might sound clever because it rhymes, but that's not the reason for the term. The name jake brake comes from a product that, unsurprisingly, is named the Jacobs engine brake. The drive reports. The company that makes them, Jacobs Vehicle System, says that its system is a diesel engine retarder that uses the engine to help slow the vehicle. It alters the engine exhaust valve operation so that the engine acts as a power sapping air compressor. Generic names are decompression brakes and engine brakes. They work by opening the exhaust valves to an engine's cylinder, releasing compressed gas and allowing the truck to slow. These brakes are typically used on diesel trucks, not passenger cars. Generally, the only other vehicles that these parts are large enough. So generally, the only other vehicle with these parts that are large enough with standard brakes aren't enough to stop them efficiently. Are they legal? Let's see. It says the answer to whether jake brakes are illegal depends on the area. Many municipalities are okay with using jake brakes, while others ban them. If you ever see the sign said no loud noise or no truck braking, they're talking about that they can't use them in those areas. It said that's primarily because of the noise they make. Matheson explained Jacob brakes are fantastic for saving wear and tear on truck surface brakes, but they're also incredibly loud when going downhill. Some some places have outlawed them. However, it's not that big of a deal because truckers activate engine brakes with the flip of a switch, which means they aren't always on. Plus, road signs should clarify whether clarify where and when they aren't allowed. They will say such thing as trucks, please, no jake brakes or engine braking prohibited. But the real question is whether these brakes can hurt the truck's engine. And if you want to read more, if you want to read more about it, the links will be by a description box. My sinus bothering me a little bit still, but I'm not coughing as much. This is from 1945. Putin has a problem. Russia is getting slaughtered in Ukraine. Ukraine war update. The war in Ukraine continues on the 318th day. The Russian assault against Bakhmut is reaching its accumulation point after more than 6 months and 10,000 casualties. So, meanwhile, the Russian military continues to suffer from a manpower problem, despite the influx of large numbers of mobilized reservists. Ukraine is too getting strained by the war, but the Ukrainian military continues to push hard all across the battlefield. And you can read the rest of this in my description box. Sound like Russia's going to lose this war. This is from Daily Dot. This is why my food didn't make it. Man says he gets free food at restaurant by pretending to be a DoorDash driver. A TikToker by the name of Dion posted a free DoorDash food hack that many have just inspired a bunch of folks to commit fraud. Oh, God. They're always thinking about fraud and stuff. In a clip, Dion records himself hurriedly getting into his car with a text overlay that reads, "Life hack: if you walk into a restaurant and say the word DoorDash, they'll give you free food." That's a shame. In the caption for the video, he adds, "Follow me for more life tips and tricks." You know, they should have some kind of a tag or ID, for the drivers, so the restaurant know that they are a DoorDash. There have been a number of different DoorDash hacks that have circulated the web, especially on TikTok. One dasher said that he effectively earns a couple of bucks for himself whenever he decides to buy some foods from the restaurant he lives directly above. By placing an order on through DoorDash, he then accepts delivery of the order to himself and get paid from the application to do so in the process. Due to his close proximity to the restaurant, it's probably a normal amount, but he is still earning money, free money, whenever he orders a meal for himself. So he lives above the restaurant, and he orders food at the restaurant through DoorDash, and he drives for DoorDash. So DoorDash is paying him to pick up his own food. That's like free food. You can read more about this in my description box. Comment, let me know about these things if you have trouble. Here's something from Cheapism. Amazon layoff to nearly double from initial forecasts. Though the U.S. continues to see record low unemployment rates, that it hasn't seen in more than a half a century. The tide is turning thanks to the looming recession. Big corporations are hedging their bets on laying off employees by the thousands to protect their bottom line. The big tech and mortgage industry were the first to sound the alarm with layoffs announced. In early 2022, the banks, retailers, and media companies have followed suit. Some of the largest and most notable cuts have been been by some of the most recognizable names in U.S. businesses. Amazon's is one of them. I ain't gonna read everything to you. Salesforce is another one, layoffs. Meta, which is formerly Facebook, 11,000 employees laid off. Twitter, 50%, about 3,700 employees being laid off. Morgan Stanley, 2% of their employees. CNN is laying off. Don't say how much, though. BuzzFeed News, 12% of them being laid off. Caravan, that's an online used car company, cut 1,500 employees. Coinbase, the cryptocurrency market, has been collapsing. About 1,000 employees laid off. Redfin, housing market no longer booming. 862 employees laid off. Peloton, 2,800 employees laid off. Shopify, 10% of them being laid off. Gannett, additional 200 jobs being lost. DoorDash. Consumers aren't ordering takeout as much these days, and that's affecting third-party delivery companies like DoorDash. And they're cutting 1,250 positions. Okay, now let's see what else we got here. Bloomberg. New York and Chicago mayors told Colorado to stop busing migrants. The mayors of New York City and Chicago denounced Colorado for busing migrants to the two cities, calling it inhumane and a strain on resources. As Joe Biden first presidential visit to the U.S. Mexico border highlights immigration issues. What is inhumane is letting all these people come into our country when we can't deal with them. Colorado has sent hundreds of asylum seekers to the city since December, with shelters reaching maximum capacity and services to support them now. Exhausted New York City Mayor Eric Adams, Chicago Mayor Laura E. Lightfoot said in a letter to Colorado Governor, a fellow Democrat. The two cities are among a handful of so-called sanctuary cities that have received thousands of migrants since early 2022 from other states, predominantly from Texas. The Governor Greg Abbott seeks to pressure Biden on immigration policy. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis even flew immigrants to Martha's vineyard. And Tony, the Tony, Massachusetts island, known for its luxury homes and the billionaires who own them. Anyway, there's more to read if you want to read it. It'll be in my description box. Wait, there you go. This is from USA Today. Biden to visit El Paso border amid surge in migrant crossing, rising GOP criticism. El Paso, Texas, facing criticism that he hasn't done enough to stop illegal border crossings. Joe Biden heads Sunday to the U.S. Mexico border to assess the growing. So that's going to be today. I'm doing this newscast a day ahead of time. So today's this Sunday. So that'll be today to assess the growing crisis. I'll let you know tomorrow what might go on. Or that'll be the next day. Biden trip to the southern border is first since he became president 2 years ago. And you can read the rest of this in my description box. I got a lot of news lined up and don't have time to read them. Shoppers are banning Walmart after they implemented new deterrents. I told you about this a while back. They're locking stuff up. And now they said here, there was something news too. It said at some locations, Walmart decided to test a newer locked case control via a smartphone rather than the traditional key. But they're not alone. Walgreens and CVS have followed suit. See, it says that they're locking these things up, and you can't find no employees to unlock the case. So now, and Walmart knows that's a problem because they can't keep nobody working there. Here's one here. It says catalytic converter theft. 10 vehicles thieves target most. Catalytic converters. You never think about them until the day you go to start your car and discover the one that was once attached to your vehicle is gone. The biggest clues: your catalytic converter might have been stolen. An excessive amount of engine noise and noxious fumes coming from underneath the car. And it says down here, according to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, Catalytic converter theft has spiked dramatically due to the three precious metals found inside them: palladium, rhodium, and platinum. How precious are we talking about here? At the time of this writing, an ounce of rhodium cost about $15,000. For comparison, an ounce of gold costs a measly $1,800. So it's more precious than gold. And let's see what the cars are. 2001 to 2021 Toyota Prius. 2011 to 2017 Chrysler 200. These cars are so low to the ground, you wouldn't think they'll be able to crawl under them, to steal them. I would pick higher up vehicles. There's a 1987, 2019 Toyota Camry. 1997, 2020 Honda CRV. 2005 to 2021 Chevy Equinox. 1999 to 2021 Chevrolet Silverado. Now that makes more sense, higher up from the ground. This one too. 1990 to 2022 Ford Econoline E-Series. 2007 to 2017 Jeep Patriot. 1989 to 2020 Honda Accord. 1985 to 2021 Ford F-Series. Almost bought me a Ford F-Series, but never did. Anyway, my vehicle's not on it. These are the vehicles they're mainly stealing off of the converters. So if you own one, then be careful. And see what we got here. This is from the Coup Down. Farmers uncovers company's dark secret after cows kept dying, and imminent and substantial threat to health. Despite their name, forever chemicals haven't been widely understood for very long, but most members of the public at least. And if it weren't for one West Virginia farmer, we still might not know much about them. Back in the 90s, Tennant noticed something strange was happening to his cows. No matter how much he fed them, they kept losing weight, developing tumors, and dying. What are considering the farmers? Let's see. What are forever chemicals? Because of Tennant's persistence, it was discovered that these DuPont products contain perforol. So this kind of acid right here, I can't say that word, also known as PFOA. PFOA are now called forever chemicals. I heard that word forever chemicals before, because they essentially don't degrade in the environment and stay in the human body for a very long time, causing disease. PFOAs are used in non-stick products, firefighting foam, and textiles, among other products. Because of their widespread use, they're hard to avoid, but staying away from non-stick pots and pans, as well as regularly reading product labels to see if they have these forever chemicals, can help protect you. You can read more about this in my description box. My time's up. To try. I already told you about Biden going down to the border. This is my last one here. If you see a yellow cap on Coca-Cola, this is what it means. Coca-Cola has been around for what seems like forever. The famous soda pop brand was first introduced in the late 1800s and is still going strong today. It's cinemas with crisp and refreshing, and the bright red logo is easily recognized the whole world over. So when the classic look changes, you notice it right away. In fact, you probably noticed the yellow cap Coke bottles recently and wonder what the yellow cap means, because I think they always had red caps before. The yellow cap on Coke is kosher for Passover. If you're unfamiliar with Passover, it's a Jewish religious holiday that occurs during spring and lasts for 7 days in total. During the holiday, Jewish people are prohibited from owning or consuming leavened foods, which include five main grains: wheat, spelt, oat, rye, and barley. However, it's common for some Jewish people to recognize another category of forbidden food that include corn, rice, and beans. And it says here, while intended for Jewish people who celebrate Passover, these original taste Cokes are a favorite for many Coca-Cola fans. Plenty of people buy the yellow cap Coke because they love the flavor or want to avoid high fructose corn syrup. And it said here, the best part, these Cokes are no different in price than the regular recipes. So these Cokes here, they don't have no high fructose corn syrup in them. And that's all I got for you for today's news, folks. Remember, I'll be I'll be reading, speaking about world news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. So, like, subscribe, watch often, watch as much as you want. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Later.